Have you ever just had a situation that blew up out of nowhere, that went from 0 to 100, full throttle, full force, out of complete left field? Well, Brian Von VA, your local narrator from Ohio, here to talk to you about just that. What is your wow, that went from 0 to 100 moment? Now, if you had a moment that went full throttle in no time, please leave it down in the comments or our subreddit r/MrRipper. Without further ado, let's get right into it. 0 to 100 stories, you say? Alright, I'll give you 2, and they both happened in the same combat. I would say spoilers for Dungeon of the Mad Mage, but considering this was a random encounter the DM rolled for, it's not really. We're going from the 4th level of the dungeon to the 5th level, and the 5th level is only reachable via a river. Our party consists of my life cleric Torxina, our grave cleric Bethanol, our ranger Hadari, our paladin Angela. If this sounds familiar, it's because she's Doodle Poodle's character from Tales from the Tables, albeit an actual D&D character version of her, and our human fighter who was actually a silver dragon, Neil. Such an ordinary name. Normally, we'd have our fireball bunny Tobias with us, but his player wasn't there for this session. This comes into play later in the story. Foreshadowing. We're going down river, and we keep seeing things floating by in the river, and one of them is another adventurer's pack. She decides to toss a net in and try to catch it, thinking it might have something useful, and we'd just gotten a net literally 30 minutes before this. As she's trying to pull it in, a fish pokes up and looks at her like, "Why you trying to steal my stuff? I'm just swimming inside the river." So Hadari shoots the fish. It was not a fish. 4 more of these same fish rise up out of the water, followed by the rest of the creature, a hydra. We launch into combat with it, and the first round, Angie hits it with Scorching Ray from her circlet of blasting. Another important part of the story. We get it down to 2 heads and it regens 4. Next round, it regens 6. The round after that, it regens 8. We're up to 12 heads total now. And that's when Neil makes the realization that fire damage stops the Hydra's regeneration, hence why it didn't regenerate any heads in the first round. There was just, one problem. We are level 8, fighting this thing with 2 clerics, a paladin, a silver dragon, and a ranger. Our fireball bunny isn't with us. Angie had already used her once per long rest Scorching Ray from the circlet. Aside from that, none of us have any fire capability. By this point, Angie's already well past bloodied and Neil is nearly bloodied. The rest of us are staying out of its range, with Bethanol using spells against it. Hadari is just shooting it, and Torxina is flying above trying to stay out of its range while hitting it with guiding bolts. But we can't actually do enough damage to outpace its regeneration. The fight isn't looking good, and it's only made worse by the fact that this thing destroyed our boat and now is sitting 15 feet underwater where we can't hit it without attacking at disadvantage. We're talking as if we're going through the fight, and we're coming to the realization that the only way we have of hitting this thing with fire damage is Hadari running up and hitting it with one of his torches, which won't work underwater anyway. Oh god, you guys are really screwed. That is when I remembered I'd prepared to control water earlier that session for a completely different reason. Remember how I said I had 2 0 to 100 stories in one? I asked the party, do we want to fight this thing on dry ground? They, in unison, said, let's think about this. Fucking yes, please. Now imagine, if you will, a hydra with 12 heads. That's a lot of attacks to deal with, even for a mid-level party. And it was constantly regenerating. We were at risk of losing at least 2 party members, if not more. However, in a complete reversal of fortune, in less than 2 rounds after Control Water was cast, the Hydra was dead, and Hadari was digging through its guts for treasure. The whole combat lasted about 6 rounds. Hadari kicked off the frenzy with a successful hit with his torch, and the ferocity with which the party took down that Hydra once we stopped its regen was both impressive and kinda terrifying. And that's how going fishing for dead adventurers' gear almost ended up in a potential TPK, until the party remembered Bear Grylls' famous adage, improvise, adapt, overcome, drink your own piss. and completely flipped the script. You guys got really lucky, and your fireball bunny, guess they've just been replaced. Boot up your shields and ignite your particle engine, sci-fi fans. We've got a D&D 5th edition sci-fi game just for you. Presenting Waystar by Penny Dragon Games. The Kickstarter includes all the essentials, a core rulebook, creature codex with 100+ monsters, and an optional galaxy setting book that contains everything you're gonna need to bring life to those beautiful stars in the sky. The best part is that if you back the physical tier in the first 72 hours, you're going to get a free PDF and print copy of Steal the Stars, which is a space heist adventure that pits players against the dark forces of Shiv space. You gotta steal the stars, ancient artifacts with untold power, all before the nefarious gangs of Shiv space can get their dirty little claws on them. We've got plenty more to talk about, like the fabric star map, spaceship card decks, galactic dice sets, and even a space monkey plushie. That's right, Roger the Space Monkey is coming in hot. Ooh, ee, ooh, ting tang, walla walla bing bang. And the best part is that you can get a print adventure book for free right now, so don't miss out, it's ready to roll. Waystar by Penny Dragon Games. In less than 10 minutes real time, easily less than 5 in game, we, and I quote, mutilated the big bad evil guy's right-hand minion, got attacked by a Wendigo, finished off the boss fight of this story arc, became personal enemies of the Pope, how? Incinerated 2/3 of the loot in a trap, betrayed an NPC ally with intent to kill, enabled PvP, and started an inter-party skirmish, released an eldritch god directly in front of us, wait, that explains the Pope situation, tore open a portal to the astral plane, had a PC flee the party with 43.7 thousand gold, lost 10 magic items, dove out a window with half a dozen pirates, stole a boat to escape, blew up a city's arcane reactor, permanently blinded our paladin, and literally killed 100,000 drow, aka committed serious genocide. Wait, what? DM literally needed a break to figure out what the hell was supposed to happen next. We've never had anything like that happen before or since. I would just like to say narrator.exe has stopped working. Please restart your recording. Please tell me there's an explanation for this. And, oh god, thank you. There actually is. I was getting actually kind of morbidly curious. After the explosion killed the eldritch god, we saw the artifact it has been contained in falling down in the crater. So a couple party members sent out their familiars to retrieve it, while everyone else rested on the boat, heading in the opposite direction of the destroyed city. At this point, most people were just tending to their wounds. Which reminds me, I need to add to that list that our paladin was permanently blinded. What? Why? What in God's name were you doing? My PC was the only one that had left the party, so I needed a replacement. Between sessions, I came up with the idea that he was a changeling hiding among the pirates. So my new character was already on board with the rest of the party, and only the DM and I would know. I freaked everyone else out by sending my invisible sprite familiar around using heart sight on all of them. So they suddenly had to make charisma saves with no clear reason or effect. Then the familiars returned with the artifact and everyone had to figure out what to do with it, since it kept trying to trick and possess people and could escape again. While they were working that out, we were boarded by a devil lord on a ghost ship. Yeah, my old character had promised to do something for him, and he wanted to know where I was. He was very unhappy to learn what happened, but since the rest of the party hadn't done anything wrong, he didn't start any trouble. In fact, the party traded the artifact to him for safe passage back to the surface. And that definitely didn't come back to bite us later. There's a lot to unpack in this story. This went from 0 to 1,000. Screw 100. This went like foobar really fast. Can we get a whole segment of context as to well, I don't know what the fuck was going on entirely, because I, as a narrator, am completely enthralled, but also very horrified as to how you made this clusterfuck of a thing happen. Please and thank you. Party was investigating a swamp that was experiencing wild magic surges and stumbled upon an abandoned giant outpost that was currently overrun with trolls. Party did some excellent recon and decided to move in to see inside the base and if there was any connection to the wild magic surges. It didn't, but I had planned on using it to foreshadow other things. After coming up with a solid plan, they take their positions. The bard and monk would sneak in, while the ranger makes a distraction, and the rogue and wizard hung back to lay cover fire if needed. Ranger downs a potion of spider climb and begins scaling the wall and rolls double nat 1s for stealth. I mean, technically he was successful because the trolls were very distracted by the clanging metal climbing the wall. The first troll makes it to the edge of the wall just in time for the dual-wielding ranger to attack on Titan-style sprint up the wall and start hacking its head off. The wizard naturally casts fireball on some other trolls, and the rogue starts shooting arrows at everything, while an NPC sidekick runs over to help the ranger. The ranger sees he is outnumbered and runs back down the wall. The angry troll that just got its face slashed open decided to jump off after the ranger and do a double hammer fist smash on the ranger and NPC. The NPC is insta-killed, and the monk, who had been his mentor, hears through the telepathic link the party has a soul knife rogue what happened to his student and best friend. He used a ton of movement to charge the troll and point-blank throw a lightning javelin through the troll's chest. So, not only did he get cosmetic surgery, but now he has a hole in his stomach. Cool. The bard had just cast invisibility on the monk and was not in the mental link, so he does not hear or see anything other than that the monk is now gone. Ranger grabs the body in an attempt to bring it back to the party for burial, but is slowed down by the extra weight. So he decides to take a magic bean he was given and plant it inside the neck stump of his fallen comrade. This is where things go from 100 to 1000. Oh, no. The party was freaking out because the last time the party planted a bean, they doomed the town to a zombie apocalypse. Also, as stated earlier, they were in an established wild magic zone, and the ranger used a wild magic item. So I had that player roll a D100 every round. Oh, that would give me some violent anxiety. First round started easily enough. A bird's nest with a few eggs sprouted from what used to be a neck. Nearby troll eats one because snacks and explodes. Why did that get me? Wizard casts fly to try to give support to the monk and ranger, who were getting overrun by more trolls. Ranger keeps running up walls and dive-bombing the trolls, while the monk is hysterical about his dead friend. Next round, a geyser of beer erupts from the corpse. Monk and ranger manage to escape back to the party, while the flying wizard scoops up the eggs, and the random dwarf on the scene drinks the entire thing and is called a cannibal? ? Next round. The geyser is now on fire. More trolls are coming out of the fort, and the party needs to book it. Started a skill challenge where the ranger made a pile of timbers. The monk tried to get the cart and donkeys going, but fails and ends up being pulled along by the ankle as the donkeys take off in the wrong direction. The rogue catches up and sets the cart on track while tossing a flask of oil over his shoulder onto the piled logs. The bard just barely makes it back to the rendezvous, thinking everything has gone fine until this moment. And the wizard soars over the timber pile and hits it with a firebolt. The final roll for the magic bean ends up being 100. A giant beanstalk springs into the sky, higher than the party can see, as they flee as fast as humanly possible. Are you sure you didn't base this off some fucking weird Monty Python skit? Because this sounds great. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here. If you have a moment that went from 0 to 100 or from 100 to 1000 like these have been, please leave it down in the comments or on the subreddit. Trust me, we want to read it. Links are in the description. Also, if you can, leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell. If you ring the bell, you get notified whenever we post, or in the odd chance we go live, but you can follow us on Twitch for that. You can just find that in the description below too. You can also come say hi to me, Brian Von VA. I'm over there, everywhere. BrianVonVA.com. You can go down to the very bottom of that and see all my social links. Or you could just say, hey, Bri, you got anything to do? Because I got something for you to read. It's like, yeah, sure, why not? Just don't submit D&D stories to me because that's not the right place for them. But that being said, I love you all, and I try to end things on a positive note, and today is no different. I really love when things go chaotically, horribly wrong. or because they really go horribly right, especially in these situations. I mean, who would imagine a magic bean literally causing that much chaos? That would have been the greatest goddamn campaign I would have ever been in, and that would have made me laugh hysterically until the day I die. I love the random chaos that players and parties can get themselves into, and I need to hear more of it because we need a little bit of laughter in this world, and that's the best way to laugh, is to have something go completely tits up, as it were. So, from me to you, if something in real life ever does go that chaotically tits up, just remember, take some time, take a breath, take all the good in that situation and absorb it into your soul, all the happiness, all the experience, and just let the negativity out. Laugh a little. Go, you know, that was a dumb situation, but I'm glad it happened because now you learned something, and you also, you know, might have gotten rid of some dumb assholes in the process too. Either way, keep strong, keep fighting. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.